insight number 4 here. This one should be nice and short. Chapter 30, verses 56 to 60. Again, we see that the curse was not taken off Korihor. I did mention that briefly in insight number 3, just to do that up, finish that up. He went about begging for his food. In 57, it says, now the knowledge of what had happened under Korihor was immediately published throughout the land, as it just spreads, Yea, the proclamation was sent forth by the chief judge into all the land, declaring unto those who had believed in the words of Korihor that they must speedily repent, lest the same judgment would come unto them. And they can literally see Korihor walking around, can't speak anymore, in rags, going house to house begging for food, and no one ain't want to help him. And they're all like, yeah, we don't want that, we're going to repent and come back. But very easily led away, so they were very quick to repent and come back. In 58 it says, and it came to pass that they were all convinced of the wickedness of Korihor, therefore they were all converted again unto the Lord, and thus put an end to the iniquity after the manner of Korihor. And Korihor did go from house to house begging food for his support. At this point I feel a bit bad for him, but he chose to believe in Satan's words rather than Christ's. Maybe because they were easier, maybe they sounded sweeter, maybe Satan promised him stuff that he never came through with, because Satan does not support you. He will promise you stuff, he will say this and do this, it'll be better, it'll work out this way, and it never ever does. It is always just a big mess. What do you think all the soap operas are based on that you watch? What do you think, all the drama from shows like Love Island and Married at First Sight and all of that, is it based on anything other than what Satan is promising in a worldly sense of expectations and glamour, and it should be this way, and you should do this, and you should do that? And it's no, because Satan will not support you. He will get you into that sticky situation and then sit back and go, right? He ain't helping you. He's not coming in to help you find food. What would Jesus be doing? If this was a follower of Jesus that was going about begging for food, there'd be some miracle where someone would come in and feed him. He'd be happily helped somewhere. There always is. And it's not going to be glamorous, but Jesus ain't glamorous. Jesus is basic and good and helpful and healthy and just all the things that you actually need. And often these days we miss that because we're looking for something more Satan promised than more Jesus promised. And I would encourage you strongly to look at what's Jesus promised, because those are the best blessings ever. So anyway, in 59 it came to pass that he went among the people, they separated themselves from the Nephites, called themselves the Zoramites, being led by a man that was Zoram. As he went forth amongst them, behold, he was run upon and tread down even until death. So, not that the Zoramites are that good either, but they were just, he thought, well, I can't get any help out of the people that I was trying to teach to, I'm going to go to this other place, which we'll get to read about next week. And they were quite in denial of Christ too, but they were exactly what he had been preaching, all out for themselves, not worried about anybody else. Death's going to come, that's the end of it, let's live for today. And in all of that, he got run down and killed because he was nothing, because this is your lot, go deal with it, we don't want to help you. So what he was actually preaching comes back on him. But verse 60, there's the warning. And thus we see the end of him who perverteth the ways of the Lord, and thus we see that the devil will not support his children at the last day, but doth speedily drag them down to hell. And don't be one of them, because Jesus is all about building up, Satan's all about tearing down. Any antichrist behavior is anything that tears anyone else down. And we've got to counteract that with positivity, and not toxic positivity either, but genuine, honest. There's some real wackadoos that I know at church, and I love them because they're honest and they're strange and they're odd, and so am I probably. But I will take that over someone who's nasty and judgmental any day. They're different people, and I love them because they're incredible, and the diversity and the complexity that they bring to my life is such a blessing. Again, observer relative, because a lot of people will look at them and won't even talk to them. And actually, some of the best people, and they've always been some of my best people throughout my life, My dear friend Jenny, who's mentally stuck, probably around 10 years old, and she's in her 40s and had some hard times lately, but I love her because she's so just her. She's just her. And she does some odd things, and she has some ways, and she's got to have habits, and she's going to be that age mentally her entire life on earth. And she's doing it anyway, with as much joy as she can find. She finds joy by going and looking after the dogs and talking to the cat and doing a jigsaw puzzle and lots of different things like that. And, I love her deeply, dearly. I don't see her that often anymore because they no longer live around here. They live further away, but I do love her. And she's incredible. And one day I'm going to meet her without those limitations of a human body, and she's going to see me without the limitations of my human body, because she's always accepted me just as I am. Whether I had makeup, my hair done, or whoever I was dating, it didn't matter to her. I was just her friend because she just decided. And I think that's wonderful. And, we've got to keep more of that in our lives. That's the kind of Jesus support. That's Jesus support right there. That is not Satan's support. Satan's support, he will not support you. He will not come in and help you. He will not be your friend. He will promise you things that never happen. And not out of like, oh, I just forgot or I got busy. No, literally, like, he will promise you a lot of stuff. It sounds so good. And then just like watch you fall and go, oh, well, too bad. It reminds me actually of the Mummy movie. Like, I just put down here, how do you think he felt? How do you think Korihor felt? Cast out, hungry, cold, etc. And what do you think his conversations with Satan went like then? Like, there's no longer an angel appearing you to go and save the people. I bet he didn't even answer you. Now, there's a moment in The Mummy, the one with Arnold Vosloo and Brandon Fraser, and Rachel Weisz. And there's a servant of Imhotep, the mummy, who's like, ooh, bad dude, but which I think he's kind of good looking, but bad dude. And something happens, and this guy's getting dragged away. I can't remember exactly. I'd have to go. I haven't watched it in a while. And he's like, but Lord Master, help me. And Imhotep's like, why? Like, I could get another one of you. I could get another simpleton to follow me. I could get another sucker to fall for my stuff. I'm not going to help you. Why should I help you? And I'm like, that's exactly what Satan does. He's a bad dude, right? He's like, why would I help you? Why am I going to help you? Why should I? I don't have to help you. And that's nothing like Jesus. Jesus is immediately there. How can I help you? We talked about that last week. How can I help you? That Christ-like, how can I help you? What can I do for you? It might not look like how you want it to look, but how can I help you? Whereas Satan's all like, why should I help you? Whatever. But verse 60 is quite the warning, plain and simple. Very plain and simple. So keep that in mind. Satan does not support you. He will falsely promise you and then just leave you. Just like that. So, now if you're having discussion with your kids about this, ask those questions, like, or just with your family even, or think about it yourself. Now that Korihor is wandering the streets, getting trampled down and killed, what do you think his conversations with Satan were going like at that point? Maybe his conversations with Christ started again. Who knows? Anyway, hang around. We're going to go over and talk about chapter 31. I'll see you there.